Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the first BISC Season 1 GT3 Championship for the Shell V-Power from Motorsport Park, obviously known as The Bend. I'm JP. I'm going to be joined in the booth by Patrick Coleman for this evening's races as well. We've got qualifying 12 minutes, which is what they are in at this moment in time. Heat 1 will be 10 minutes. And the feature race will be 20 minutes. Brand new season here as well on the JBB YouTube channel. Schedule for this evening. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is what you've got coming up. We're off to Portimao next time out, and then we're going to Sebring, and then we're off to Road America, Daytona Night Road Course, Bathurst, Fuji, and then Mugello. That's where we're going to finish off this season here as well. It's going to be a very, very interesting season indeed. What have we got coming up in regards to points? Well, the sprint race, they will score 15 for the win, then 12, then 9, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, all the way down to 10th place. So if you're below 10th place, you're not going to score a point. And there we go. In the feature, it's 22 for the win, then 19, 16, 13, 9, 6, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Again, down at 10th place. Anything further down than that, you're not going to score a point. So there we go. The Bend itself, wow. This is the first time I've been here, ladies and gentlemen. I can tell you that much. It's on the international 4.95 kilometers in length, 3.076 in length. There are quite a lot of courses on this circuit. There's the GT circuit, the international circuit, the West circuit, the East circuit, the West Plus circuit, the Sprint circuit, the Southwest circuit, the North circuit, the karting circuit, and the drag strip. Just to top it all off here as well. But let's bring Pat into the booth as well, as we're going to tackle this international circuit at this moment in time. As I say, 4.95 kilometers here, 3.076 miles, 18 turns. Pat, welcome in, bud. How are you? Looking forward to this one, mate. I think it's going to be a good one.
Yeah, I can also say I've never been to the circuit. I mean, the Bend is a pretty new track, all things considered. It's Australia's newest motorsports facility. It was constructed in 2018, so there's still a good amount of data on this track. Like you said, there's no shortage of layouts here. Although tonight we are going to be running on the international layout, which is the second longest layout of the bunch. The longest layout is that GT circuit that you mentioned earlier. That one is 4.8 miles and 7.7 kilometers around. But I think this is going to be a really interesting race. I mean, it's really hard to make a GT3 race boring, and I think these drivers are going to put on a fantastic show here in the heart of Australia.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's going to be interesting as well with a 10-minute feature sprint race and a 20-minute feature. They are going to have to be very, very careful indeed here, and I think this is going to be one of them ones where if they get it wrong, it's definitely going to go wrong. I think for these drivers, they've got to make sure they can all get through. 21 of them will be on the circuit here as well, and they range from being in Australia, Italy, America, the UK, and Belgium. So they're all across Europe and America and Australia, of course, with the bulk of the field being in Australia. So it's good to see that these guys are getting this international here as well, which does make it very interesting for me and Patrick here, who's going to have to try and pronounce some of the names, especially the one in 4th place. Yeah, that's going to work. So if you have got one of these names, that, ladies and gentlemen, will take a little bit of a while for us to get used to. Please send us an MP4, and it will make my life and Patrick's life a lot easier here as well to contend with, because, you know, I'm a European. I don't get names right. He's American. Don't get names right. So if there's anything you want to be called, let us know, because I can tell you one thing, we probably are going to get them wrong at some point. Now, this is new for both of us, right? And I would sit back and think, what are we going to be expecting? What we looking at for the amount of curves? Now, looking at the track map, unfortunately, we haven't got a track map at this moment in time embedded in the timing software. I would probably say turn 1 to turn 4 is going to be a little bit of a flashpoint. Through to 5 and 6 could be interesting. That run through 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12, again, depending on how they go. 15, 16, and then 18 could be a bit of an issue as well. I don't know what you think, Patrick, but that's what I'm going with.
Yeah, turns 1 through 4 gives me very strong Barcelona vibes with the circuit, the Barcelona Catalunya. It's a very similar structure for those first few corners. I think there's a good amount of spots to overtake on this track, but especially with the fact that there's only a 10-minute sprint and then a 20-minute feature, which sounds like it's not a short race, but it is a short race, all things considered. You're only going to get in a handful of laps around this track, so drivers are really going to have to make their moves early on, and they got to commit to the moves. I agree that turns 1 through 4 are going to be a bit of a hot point, but I think it really expects some moves going into turn 17 just before the penultimate corner.
Yeah, I think you might be right there. I think it could be a bit of an interesting one. Let's find out how these guys get on here as well. We're just coming to the end of quali. We've got barely 3 minutes left of quali. It's just 3 minutes, 3 seconds left, I should say. And there we go. Qualifying has finished. So we'll be able to bring you up the grid when we get it very, very shortly. So ladies and gentlemen, hold on to your hats. It's going to be an interesting one. Don't forget to like, subscribe, turn on the bells wherever you are watching this. But let's bring you up the grid for race number 1 at this moment in time. Eric Aria out in front with Peter Ferrero in second. Guillaume Dombret in third. Ivan Vantagiado in fourth, Davey Wang fifth, Scotty Evans sixth, Jordan Pianzola in seventh, Matthew Brown in eighth, Lee Harrison ninth, Ben Mitchell 10th, Anthony Edwards in 11th with Albert Cruz down in 12th. Moving on, it's Carl Newhill, Matty Warner, Paul Pittman, Dante Olivia, Scotty Borman, Ben Snell, Michael Angeli, Stephen Laird, and Cristiano Kritzer. So there we go. We did manage to make it through the grid for the first time, which is great for us here as well, because I can tell you one thing, it's liable to go wrong at some points, but you never know. So hold on, ladies and gentlemen. It's going to be an interesting one here as well. I think for the opening round of the circuit season, I think this is going to be one of them ones where we're going to sit back, Pat, and go, wow, or we're going to sit back and go, oh my God, what have we just witnessed?
Yeah, just looking at the track map I have pulled up, it looks like there's several opportunities on this track for some absolute carnage to unfold here at the bend. It's going to be a lot of fun to watch, though, because like we said earlier, there's not a lot of time to really get moves done, especially in the sprint. 10 minutes is not a long race. On a lot of some circuits, you can only even get 2 laps, and if this was a 10-minute sprint at Spa, you'd really only get like maybe 3-ish laps, depending on the car and category. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to this one getting underway, and I believe we're going to get underway sooner rather than later.
Yeah, you can see the cars leading the way there as well. Eric Aria is on pole position in that Porsche at this moment in time. Let's hope the Porsche doesn't do Porsche things for Mr. Aria. It's a Porsche front 3, to be honest, before we got the Corvette of Ivan. Then David Wang back in the Porsche. Ferrari, an Audi, a McLaren, a BMW, a Ferrari, all on the racetrack as well. But it is mainly Porsche driven at this moment in time. There's the car manufacturers on your left-hand side. Pace car's going to go in, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. The opening round of the season is going to be green, green, green. They've already gone. Aria's jumped at the straightaway at the beginning. There's an incident at the back. There's somebody already gone round. I don't know if that's Scotty Borman. May have had an issue, but it is Aria leading the way down into turn 1. Big split. Ivan making moves on the left-hand side as well in that Corvette. He's looking up the inside. Is he going to get the job done over Guillaume at the moment? He has. He's going to go through turn number 2. Now it's a hook right into turn number 3. But everybody looking like they've had a half-decent start, apart from some people at the back. Oh, there's more carnage in the middle. There's a Ferrari gone round. The Porsche's gone round as well. Oh, there was even more bits going up in the air. There was a BMW got off the side of the circuit. Pat, not a great start for some.
Oh, yeah, I mean, pretty much that flashpoint you mentioned early on to turns 1 through 4, that definitely was some carnage that happened there. And there's another spin. Another spin. I believe that is Lee Harrison and Matt Warner, I believe, are the 2 cars involved in that one. A lot of carnage here in the opening stages of this first heat, and which is unfortunate, but it was honestly pretty expected. Yeah, you only got 10 minutes on the track, so you really got to go ahead and try to make as many moves as you can, take some risks. And some drivers have already moved up quite a few positions. Cristiano Kritzer in the number 41 Porsche has moved up 9 positions. He's up into P12. Other drivers have moved up 7 positions, 5 positions. A lot of drivers are moving positions as we are on board now with Jordan Pianzola there in the number 54 Audi R8. Beautiful V10 machinery navigating through the circuit, trying to chase down Guillaume Dombret, sorry. And David Wang is going to try to put on the pressure. They say the diamonds are formed under pressure, but so are mistakes here, JP. So things are really going to go sideways sooner rather than later.
Yeah, we'll have a look back at some of these dramas in a few minutes or so here, guys, as well. We'll bring you up to date with what is going on. I can tell you now, Scotty Borman, Scotty Evans and Manny Warner were all fortunate enough to be in pit lane. Brown's in there as well, Matthew Brown at the same time. It has been a bit of a chaotic opening. Albert Cruz currently tucked in that McLaren. He has got no front end. I'm guessing there's something gone on with drama with him, but I can tell you now, ladies and gentlemen, this was kind of expected when you're bringing new people together on a racetrack. I do want to have a look at some of this as what has gone on here. I especially want to look at the beginning because I don't believe Scotty Borman went anywhere very, very quickly. And I'm going to have to change and do a little bit. Oh, he went round on his own, Scotty Borman. Unfortunately, he hit the curb on the inside. He went round, and then this was Matthew Brown has also been a part of this as well. And the Porsche, he got a little bit of a slide on. There was a Ferrari there that's not holding brakes. That was absolutely disgusting as well, in the politest possible way. No offence, but you're still rolling it back across traffic there. Was that Scotty Evans in that Ferrari? I think Scotty here, Pat, may need a lesson in holding his brakes on that one because he's still not holding them now.
Yeah, I mean, another thing too is that a lot of these cars don't really grip up super well when it comes to grass. But yeah, I mean, it's a new group of people, like you said, so it's going to take time for them to go ahead and get acclimated to everybody's driving styles. And also, not to mention, when you're in a new series, you're unfamiliar with how everybody drives. When you have a series that you've been a part of more, then, everybody just kind of gets used to how everybody drives, and it just becomes more predictable. But the first round of a new championship, it's always going to be super unpredictable how everyone is going to drive. As we see David Wan now making a move, trying to chase down the Audi of Jordan just up ahead. He's going to have to try to make a move sooner rather than later because we are on lap 3 and just about halfway distance through this first heat. So it's going to be really interesting how the rest of this race plays out. But I think everybody's kind of settled in now. So although that's probably my famous last words before even more carnage unfolds.
Yeah, I think you might be right here, bud. As much as I love being optimistic, I don't necessarily see that happening at the moment. We're going through 7, 8, 9 at the moment as well. There you go, through the right-hander. We're still going right at this moment in time. Now dropping down into the left-hander. Slight little turn of turn 11. In through 12. The right-hander on board with Wang at this moment in time, who's chasing down Pianzella. In behind that, Don Brett is chasing down Ivan there as well. Ivan, you've got to send me an MP4 of that last one, mate, please. I have no idea how to pronounce that whatsoever, as he's still leading the way in that Corvette, holding on to that final podium position. Ferrero's in there, Aria's in there at the same time. We've got Paul Pittman a little bit further down. He's having a nice little bang ding-dong with Dante Oliveira and Anthony Edwards there. Ben Snell and Michael Angeli with Albert Cruz. They're fighting out further down as well. This is pockets of battles taking shape. We're not going to get many more laps in. I think it's only going to possibly be 2 laps at a 1:46, maybe 3 at the most. 1:45.358 for Ferrero at the moment. Fastest lap of the race. He's trying to get onto the back of Aria here, but Aria's, keeping his cool, doing what he needs to do and making sure he don't get caught.
Indeed, yeah. He's going to be very smooth through these corners because we saw earlier that these curbs are kind of slippery, as we saw at the very beginning of the race. The Porsche of Scott Borman did spin around on his own. I think he took a bit too much curb there, but as we see Peter going ahead and just making this run down, trying to get to the Porsche up ahead, trying to go for the lead of this race. I mean, he's following nicely behind. He doesn't really have any pressure really behind him, as Ivan Vantigiato, or Vantigiato, yeah, that's a hard name when you say it in practice.
Nice try, mate. That's why I turned around and said, please, can you send me an MP4, dude? Because, we ain't getting that one right anytime soon. So yeah, let us know. Send us an MP4 on that, and I'm sure we'll have a good old goal at trying to get it right. But I think this is one of the problems, isn't it? We're going to be looking at. There's lots more to deal with here. I think a lot more is going to be coming at the same time, and I'm just sort of optimistic on how this is going to work. I'm hoping that once they get rounds 1 out of the way, or effectively round 1 and 2, or heat 1 and 2, depending on how you want to look at it, you know, I'm hoping they'll start getting used to how each other drives, and then that way it won't be too much of an issue for them to be able to get around the racetrack without any major dramas, right? That's what we all wish for at the same time. I bet Anthony Edwards is wishing for this at this moment as he's chasing down Paul Pittman. Oliver in front of him at this moment in time as well. This is a 3-car fight here. Oh, Pittman's round in a Porsche.
Yeah, he lost on his own. Once again, that final corner has been very easy to lose under a lot of throttle. So we saw at the very beginning of this race, it's just maybe that the Porsches just really do not like that final corner here. That is turn 18 on the track. It doesn't look like a particularly hard corner, but obviously on the track, you're going to have a much different feel for things, as Ben Snell is going to go ahead and try to keep the cars right behind him. Albert Cruz in that slightly weight reductionified McLaren behind, still missing that front bumper from early on. The number 3 McLaren, about having the same aerodynamics as their Formula 1 car, trying to chase down Ben Snell. I mean, surely there's better ways to do weight reduction than that, although it is kind of I actually kind of like how it looks without that front bumper.
Yeah, I guess you could say that as well. I suppose most people would just basically, you know, don't eat that donut as well. That might be handy there. But at the same time, you can see that McLaren of Albert Cruz in behind. Cruz at the moment has got Michael Angeli tucked up right behind him. Angeli's trying to go on the outside. Nope, nothing doing there. Trying to go on the inside. Nope, nothing doing there. Is he going to come back through on us once more? He's not at this moment in time. He's still tucked in again here, right? Battle up front. Ferrero has finally closed onto the back of Aria, and I believe this is going to be the white flag lap after this one. So this will be the final lap of the race. So they only got 6 laps in, Pat. And at the moment, 3 of them aren't, well, what's that? 11 of them aren't going to score points.
Yeah, so, I mean, it's been a pretty chaotic first 6 laps, I will say, but I think this battle between Peter Ferrero and Eric Aria is going to be a very fun battle. The Mustang versus the Porsche, although my timing table...
they're both in Porsches, mate.
No, it's 2 Porsches.
Yeah, left-hand side gives you more
I thought it was a
ideas.
Mustang for a moment, but apologies. Wishful thinking, right? Yeah, but these 2 Porsches are really going to fight tooth and nail. Although Eric Aria is going to have that clean air, so it's going to be a bit tricky for Peter Ferrero, as Peter Ferrero looks like he went a bit wider than Eric Aria did. So, and we are seeing Eric blink in and out of existence, which is not great. Might throw Peter Ferrero off just a bit. Hopefully that was a bit of an isolated incident as these 2 drivers are navigating through this track. Peter is closing that gap up, but there's still a gap there. Eric Aria is not letting him get too close here.
But definitely not. He's got a couple of corners to go now as well through the right hand. I believe they're in turn 13. Then it's a double left of 14, 15. There's the first part of it. Here's the next part going through the next left-hander. We've got the run down into turn 17. That's going to be basically the end of all she wrote here. In the first name as well. In the first race of the evening. Anthony Ferreira is going to be settling in to second place unless he has a dive and a half, which could be very interesting going into the right-hander of 18. Oh, he's not. He tried to take too much speed. Aria's off the racetrack. Aria takes the win as well, I should say, and Ferrero's off the racetrack. Ivan comes over second. Gordon Dombet takes 3rd place, and poor old Ivan there, or Peter Ferrero, I should say, is going to come over the line down in 7th place, and he literally just did what everybody else has been doing in that Porsche, carrying too much speed, Porsche doing Porsche things, and unfortunately for him, around he goes, Pat, as well. And that is at the end of Peter Ferrero. He manages to score points and hang on, but boy, oh boy, was he close there.
Yeah, I mean, we were talking about him having a dive of a lifetime, more like a spin of a lifetime there, but it seems like an issue with the Porsches. going into that corner, like you said, because so far, the 3 cars we've seen lose it at that final corner have all been Porsches. We have yet to really see any of the Ferraris, the Corvettes, the McLarens, the BMW, Audi. We haven't seen any of those cars really make that same spin out. It's been a Porsche thing. So, I mean, granted, the Porsche still won with Eric Aria there, but I'm not sure the Porsche might not be the strongest car on this track, but we'll have to see how this race goes. And there are our results right there. Eric Aria taking P1. He will go ahead and take the win in the sprint. And then we have Ivan Vatagiato currently in P2. Guillermo Dombra in P3. Jordan Pianzola, P2. David Wang in P3. Ben Mitchell, Peter Ferraro, Kyle Newhill, Dante Olivia, Anthony Edwards, Christiana Crissa, Leigh Harrison, Stephen Liard, Paul Pittman, Ben Schnell, Albert Cruz, Michael Angeli, Scott Borman, and that is our grid, and that's our results for the first sprint race.
More at the bottom.
And then we have Matthew Brown, Matt Warner, and Scott Evans rounding out the sprint results.
Yeah. Absolutely. Well, there you go on the left-hand side as well. There's an error in that overlay. I will resolve that error going into next week, ladies and gentlemen. So bear with me on that one. We're into a 5-minute warm-up. I'm just going to grab and top up my water because over in the UK at the moment it is sweating, and I will be right back as well. FFS, his name is Travis. Who are you talking about? Let us know on that one. But guys, we're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back very shortly. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we are back for race number 2 now as well, halfway through warm-up as well. Thanks to everybody that's joined us once again. If you've gone to tune in on the JPB YouTube channel, I'm not entirely sure what's happened at this moment in time, but it's not something I can deal with while we are live. So you have to bear with us. It will be live on both channels next week. We will get the video uploaded to JPB as well. But if you are watching over on Benji YouTube channel, much appreciated. Thank you so much for joining us there as well. So much love to you. Don't forget to like, subscribe, turn on the bells. That will be absolutely amazing for that YouTube channel as well. So join us. Thank you so much for that one. Massive shouts out to this season's sponsors as well. Autosport.com.au is one of them here this evening. Thank you so much for joining us at this one. We've just had as well, there was somebody who had come on board just before the beginning of this season as well. Hair Forum have joined us as well. RBM MX Designs has also come on board, and Race Force Your Legacy are also on board as well, with Jack Ashton Sim Coaching Services. He has joined us once again. So much love to all of you guys for sponsoring this season's race, and look forward to seeing how we get on here in season number 1. What can we say about race 1, to be honest with you, Patrick, apart from the fact that the Porsche doing Porsche things?
Well, the opening stages were very chaotic. We saw quite a few contacts, quite a few incidents. Stewards are going to have a bit of a busy time with how the first few laps and how they transpired, but overall, we did see some very good racing there between Peter Ferraro and Eric Aria, the two drivers that were 1 and 2 coming up into the final corner before, like you said, Porsche did Porsche things. So it was a good race, and for 10 minutes there was quite a lot of action. But we're going to go ahead and get double that coming up with a 20-minute feature race, and I'm honestly looking forward to this one. Everybody should be at least a little bit more aware of how everybody drives, so ideally less incidents on lap 1, turn 1, although fingers crossed on that.
Let's see what happens. That's all I'm going to say on that one as well. We'll keep an eye out and see what goes on in the next 20 minutes as well. Thank you so much again for joining us here on this one. Going to be an interesting calendar as well, I think, to be honest with you, Patrick, as well. I think there's some circuits that people are going to know on there. There's some circuits that people should know on there. And if you haven't done your practice, well, you could be in a deep little bit of trouble. And the warm-up has come to the end as well. We are obviously going to Portimao, Sebring, Road America, Daytona Night, Bathurst, Mount Fuji, and Mugello. There's circuits there that some people are going to be loving, others are not going to be loving. I know I'm not a lover of Fuji, but then again, I don't drive that often. So there we go. Warm-up has come to the end. Let's bring you up the grid for race number 2. Eric Aria will lead us away. Grid set by race number 1 with Ivan Vantagiado in second, Guillem Dombre in third, Jordan Pianzola in fourth, David Wang fifth, then Ben Mitchell, Peter Ferrero, Kyle Newhill, Dante Oliver, Anthony Edwards, Cristiano Kritzer and Lee Harrison there on that final 12th position. Then Stephen Laird, Paul Pittman, Ben Snell, Albert Cruz, Michael Angeli, Scott Borman, Matthew Brown, Matty Warner and Scotty Evans. So the grid is from race number 1, just obviously where you finish. So hold on to your hats, ladies and gentlemen. Let's see how these guys get on for race number 2 here as well. What do we think is going to happen, Patrick, in race number 2?
I think it's going to be a little bit of carnage like we saw in the first race, but I think we're going to go ahead and see a lot more amazing battles between a lot of these drivers, because this is clearly a very competitive field. Nobody ever really pulled away considerably, aside from the drivers, or pulling away. They pulled away from the drivers who got involved in those early incidents, but other than that, the field has been pretty close. And I'm expecting some really close racing, but just a bit of carnage, just to spice things up a bit as we about to go ahead and get underway with our feature race. Yeah,
here we go, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, people of all ages. Get your drinks, get your popcorn, because if race 1 is anything to go by, race 2 is going to be absolutely manic. Right, let's see what goes on. Pace car lights are in. Aria's gone again already. Vantagiado has got to try and catch him up here as well. Dombre in behind that. Pianzola in there as well. You can see they're spread out across both sides of the racetrack at the moment. Aria's going to take the whole shot down into turn 1. Is Vantagiado going to lose that position to Dombre? No, he's come back again here. They're going to almost go 3 wide. It's 2 wide. Vantagiado got that over Dombre. There's been some drama. There has been some drama. They're almost 3 wide. Ooh. Going into 2 and 3. That's never going to work. 3 wide further back as well. Stephen Laird is in there on the outside at the moment, but it's Eric Aria. There is a spin there as well. There's a couple of drivers involved in that. Ben Snell, Stephen Laird, Cristiano Kritzer is also involved on that. You saw that one live, but it is Eric Aria out in front at the moment, Pat, and seems to be breaking away.
Yeah, the thing about Eric Aria is that he's been able to go ahead and just avoid the chaos and then just go off into the distance. There's a few cars that spun on their own. Jordan Pianzola went ahead and had a spin on his own in that number 54 Audi R8. And we did say that there's probably going to be a good amount of carnage on lap 1, and there certainly was. In terms of how compared to the last time we attempted a lap 1 start here at the bend, I think it went a bit better, but take that with a grain of salt. But Ivan is chasing down the number 38 Porsche up ahead in that number 89 Corvette. He's going to try to make a move, but there's still quite a good amount of racing left to go. We're only a minute and a half into this race on the first lap. He's got a very good slipstream up ahead. So we'll see how this one plays out. But I think right now, I think everybody has settled in as we go ahead to take a replay at some of this early chaos.
Yeah, this is Ben Snell on the inside. He's bounced the curb a couple of times. Yep, curb and grass there. There's a couple of people off in front of him that went and took evasive action and went to the grass at the same time. But this battle here with Kyle Newhill is in this fight. Wang's in there, Oliver's in there, Harrison's in there. All mixing it up at the moment. Edwards is in there, Pittman's in there as well. So let's see what goes on here. Can they all keep it nice and clean? Carl Newhill has gone through. He's now moving up into 5th place. David Wang's coming back on the inside there. Oliver's there as well with Lee Harrison. They're continuing to have their scrap. Anthony Edwards is at the back end of this queue. Once again, there's a couple of blinking drivers at the moment. And I don't mean blinking as here they're in blinking cars. I mean blinking as in they're blinking here as well. A bit of internet issues going on for a couple of these guys, and I'm not surprised it is the guys that are not from Australia, being that we're on a Aussie server. So the likes of Oliver's got on, been blinking. There we go. It goes back again on that one. So it's got to be a little bit careful on that. You do not take him straight back to pit lane here once again as well. But Aria out in front, Dombre sitting in second. But it's all about what's happening in and around this mid pack at the moment, Pat.
Indeed, yeah. I mean, it's some really strong battling here, as we see Kyle Hill trying to chase down David Wang. The McLaren versus the Porsche, number 23 versus number 11. They're going to go navigate. Looks like they touched a little bit of grass there from David Wang. Looks like he got a little bit onto the grass, didn't mess him up too much. We've seen the Porsches in particular not taking some of these off-road / curb sections very well. I mean, obviously we saw the heartbreak of a race ender for Peter Ferraro in the first heat in the sprint race. And Kyle Newhill, if he's not careful, he's going to be under some pressure from Dante Oliva there in the number 112 Porsche. And even just one behind him, Lee Harrison is right up. And oh, we're seeing, is that Lee Harrison's into the pits?
Yeah, he's in pit lane. Lee Harrison has gone in pit lane there as well. I do wonder whether or not that's a drive-through or whether or not that's a scheduled pit stop. I don't think it's a scheduled one for him. Willem Dombre now has closed up behind Aria at the moment. These guys are battling it out for 1 and 2 here. The Wizard Merlin, Dombre number 1. Well, we're going to find out here if he is going to make it through. He's sitting in the Porsche, mind you. We've seen how they've reacted to this circuit here this evening as well. And unfortunately, they've got to be a little bit careful. Just seems a little bit slippery for that Porsche at the moment. But that's the thing with the Porsche. You could do the same thing for 11 laps. And then on the final lap of the race, it will spin you around as we saw with Peter Ferraro.
Yeah, you pretty much got to be ready for anything in these cars. We know that the Porsche does have a bit of the Porsche 911 platform, ever since its inception around like the 70s, has always had issues with the rear end just kicking out and taking you for a spin. So it's just kind of an inherent problem with these Porsche 911s. But these two drivers up here, Guillaume Dombre and Eric Aria, are going ahead and handling the car pretty nicely. But we have to remember, Peter Ferraro was also handling this Porsche very nicely up until the final lap of the race, going through turn 18. And I think pretty much just became a ballerina. So hopefully for Dombre's case that doesn't happen again, and we get some really good racing between himself and Eric Aria. Ivan, though, isn't too far back himself. He is about 8/10 back, and he actually just at the fastest lap of this race. So he's clearly got pace in that Corvette.
Yeah, there's a couple of people, Pittman and Snell, in pit lane as well. Oliver's trying to get through here as well. He's going to make it up the inside. He's not at this moment in time. Through the left-hander they go. 5.5 minutes gone here. Through the right-hander of turn number 3 on the run through to the kink of 4, coming into the left-hander of turn number 5 now as well. Now it's going to be a run down into turn 6, that sharp hairpin at the base. We've got 14 minutes to go, and they've only got about 8 laps, give or take, left here at the same time. Porsche makes it through without any dramas through turn 6. Now it's to run through that long looping right-hander of 7, 8, 9 and 10 before we come back into a left-hander of turn 11. Now they're going on the run here as well. Oliver trying to get through. Newhill at the moment holding on. FC's there, got lots riding on this one. Carl, don't let me down. I'll be interested to know what you got riding on it, son. If you're having a little cheeky bet on sim racing, let us know on that one. But at the moment, Newhill managing to hold on. That McLaren doing a good job over the Porsche, Pat.
Indeed, yeah, Kyle Newhill is doing a fantastic job keeping Dante Oliva behind in that Porsche. I mean, we've seen that the Porsches can be quick whenever they're facing in the right direction, but this McLaren has been pretty quick too. And I mean, putting all sorts of pressure on Kyle is Dante. So we'll see if he can get a move done. It doesn't look like it now. You're not really at the best part of the track to really make an overtake. And now we're heading to the corner that seems to be a bit troublesome for the Porsches. Dante gets through it just fine. He's still got a very good slipstream, making the run down into turn number 1. Dante is going to try to think about a move. He's going to try to get closer and closer to the McLaren of Kyle Newhill. Just does not have enough real estate to really make a effective move. You could make a move, but it's likely not going to end up well for you if you were Dante Oliva. He's still going to try to get closer, so it looks like that the McLaren might have a bit of an edge on the straights compared to the Porsche, but the Porsche will have it on corners. At least that's what I'm getting from just this battle between Dante Oliva and Kyle Newhill.
Theoretically, you should be right. Theoretically. The Porsche should be able to handle the corners, but it hasn't got the top line to go and take place to the shape of the McLarens, right? We know the McLarens have certainly been quick on that one at the same time. So for the McLarens currently at the moment, he's just got to try and stay ahead where he can. Turn 12 to 13, 14, 16, 17, 18 down into 1. And he's got to try and open it up as much as he can there. Matty Warner in behind. He's having a go with Matthew Brown. Warner in that BMW machine here into the right-hander. We're going to go now as well. And Warner in the BMW. It's great to see multiple classes here as well. It's not just a Porsche matriarchy as such. We've got the Corvette, we've got the McLaren, we've got the BMW, the Audi, the Ferrari. Lots of different manufacturers here from a lot of different people.
That's the beauty of this type of racing, is that you always have a bunch of different manufacturers show up. You have a bunch of different brands from a bunch of different countries as Matt Warner gets very, very close to the Porsche of Matthew Brown. I think there might have even been a very slight bit of contact. If not, they were only centimeters from each other, as we do see Matthew Brown pull off into the pit lane, making his pit stop for the race. And I don't think we've really talked about the pit stop requirements for this race so far.
No, we definitely haven't, to be blatantly honest with you. And do you know what? It's quite a surprise that pit stops are being made here. I am quite shocked that they are being made, considering it's only a short 20-minute run. You know, normally in 20 minutes you don't get to see the pit stops, but they have got max fuel of 100% and they have got 100% fuel power. So I am a little bit shocked that people have been going in. There's not a tyre change rule enforced. They don't have to do that as well. Maximum incidence is 25. They do have a fast repair as well. Can't see nothing about pit stops, so I am surprised that people are going in at this moment in time, to be blatantly honest with you. At the same time here, I'm going to have to do some digging on that one, I think.
So looking at it, I think there is a pit stop requirement in the second race. I think at minimum you have to get a little bit of fuel, but you can keep the same tires. At least that is from what I'm reading from an announcement made before we started. Yeah,
just seen it there as well. Pit stops in second race. Only fuel minimum at the stop is required. If you want to do tyres, that's up to you. Well, I'm not quite sure you would want to do tyres, to be blatantly honest. So, yeah, I would be surprised if that is going to be the case. If anybody is going to take tyres, that means the likes of Newhill is going to have to come in. Dante Oliva is also going to have to come in, but that does lean up that Guillaume Dombre and Aria have also got to come in at the same time. In fact, the most leading man that's pitted is Lee Harrison. He's down in 15th here as well. You can see Wang's in, Newhill's in, Vantagiado's in at the same time. So people now deciding that halfway is just about where they need to be to take their pit stops, which is, you know, great for them, and hopefully long shall it continue, and they'll be able to make it through without any dramas. So let's see how this one goes. Who's going to make it out? Pit stops could really spice this up a little bit.
Indeed, yeah, because traffic giveth and traffic taketh away, as it is said, for endurance racing. And if you just come out in front of traffic, it's going to really ruin your outlap when you come out of the pits, which can really hold you up, and it can pretty much allow the drivers like Eric Aria, Dombre, and Peter Ferraro, it gives them a very good opportunity to really keep their positions, and it rewards them for staying out later and not pitting in early when everybody else did. So a fantastic battle between the two Porsches now. The number 6 in the lead, the number 38 just behind, as they're going to go maybe shaking up her move up the inside. That door is closed. Although I'm not sure if he was actually attempting a move. It would have been, I don't think he had a bit too much real estate in between the two cars for him to actually make an effective move. But Dombray is trying to close that gap. That gap is pretty close. It is under 0.4 of a second now. As we're well past the halfway point at this race. We're running at about 12 and a half minutes roughly out of 20. And we'll see if any of these drivers go for the pit stop. And nope, none of the top three have pitted in yet.
No, still no pit stops either from there as well. It's right the way down to Ivan Vaneghiato has gone and tried to get that pit stop done. There was a shape of a move from Aria with Dombray tucked in behind. Dombray tried to have a go, and at the moment they've not managed to, for Dombray anyway, he's not managed to go through as Aria in that Porsche as well. Aria and Dombray, pure class, terror. We said that about Aria and Ferrero last time out, and Ferrero had dramas on the final lap on the final corner. So, you know, we want to be a little bit careful to make sure we don't have any more dramas either. But let's see how these guys get on and whether or not they can get to the end. There's a nice little battle down with Ben Mitchell and Carl Newhill. Newhill has had a massive pit stop of 1 minute 8 seconds for Carl Newhill, so that is a lot longer than pretty much anybody else on the racetrack. In fact, it's about 20 seconds longer for Carl Newhill, so I'm not quite sure what he did in the pit stop, but whatever he did, he didn't get it right. Let's just put it that way. We'll have a look at his pit entry very, very shortly. Come on, son. Come on, you only need to weave once. You're not knitting a jumper down that straightaway, you know. As he loses the inside line and Ben Mitchell goes through there. Scotty Evans in behind him. Dombray out, still chasing down Aria at this moment in time. Both men still got a pit. It'd be interesting to see where they're on the racetrack when it comes to Vaneghiato on that one.
Yeah, indeed. So obviously, like you said, these top three cars still have to go ahead and make their pit stops. It's actually still quite a few other cars needing to make pit stops as well. But Dombray has been keeping it close to Eric. Hasn't allowed Eric to really run away with this race. And I mean, the gap has pretty much been consistently around 0.3 of a second down to less than a second. I think the biggest the gap has ever been has been just a little bit earlier when it was 0.7 seconds. And so credit where credit is due for keeping that Porsche facing in the right direction. But like you said, it's always the last lap moments that seem to be the kryptonite of these Porsches on this track.
Yeah, agreed. As well, I do find that 100%. We're going to have to see what can happen here, whether or not these guys are going to make it to the end of this race. Vaneghiato still leading the run of the first people that have pitted. He was in third place when he come in. He's now in ninth place. Matty Warner's come out of pit lane. He's just lost that position to Wang. He managed to come out right in front of Matthew Brown. So you'll see how Matt Brown gets on. Newhill and Evans is now, Newhill's gone backwards. Evans has gone forward. I do wonder whether Newhill's actually carrying an excessive amount of fuel here. That could be why he's going back. I'm going to be very interesting when these guys have to go in. It does not state the regulations on when they need to pit. Now, normally, if this is an enforced pit stop, they normally say you can't pit before 3 laps of the end, or you can't pit before 2 laps of the end, or whatever the situation would be. Reading that rule 4 of that announcement, it just says only fuel minimum at the stop is required. If you want to do tyres, that's up to you. You've got to make a pit stop. 1:44.988 for Ferrero. They've gone round again. Still, these three aren't pitting, and there's only one more we're going to roughly take out of this that they're going to do here. Now, I'm hoping everybody has read the rule of they've got to make a pit stop here, Pat, because if they don't, I do wonder how this is going to go down right at the end of this race.
Yeah, I mean, a hefty penalty at minimum is probably going to go ahead and be enforced if they don't make that pit stop in this race. But when you're battling this tough, I mean, it's a satisfying battle to watch. I'm sure a satisfying battle to be involved in. You really don't want to give up a track position. That's probably the big thing that's going through these top three Porsche's minds, is that Eric's in the lead. He won't want to give up track position. Dombray's in the lead, or fighting for a lead, doesn't really want to take that position drop. And then also Peter Ferraro is also pretty much just there in case these two Porsches ahead of him mess up, so he won't really want to lose track position either. And I think that's just really what's coming down to. They're going to have to pit this lap or the next lap. Otherwise, they're just going to be out of time. I mean, maybe they could do some shenanigans. And speaking of shenanigans, looks like Peter Ferraro did go a bit wide on corner exit. And so, I mean, the undercut might be a good strategy for one of these drivers because they may have clean air and be out of the dirty air that's currently affecting Dobre and Ferraro. And, oh, is that a move I see? Thought it was an attempted move from Dobre. Eric closing the door. Oh, Dobre is getting spicy. He wants a position. They're going too wide, and that's the move that Dobre needed. He needed that move, and the 2 cars behind will dive into the pits.
Yeah, for Dobre, he's got to remember there's a pit stop here. He's only going to have one more lap to do that. So he has to remember he's got a pit stop. Oliver's also got to remember he's got a pit stop as well. He's only got one more lap to do this. I do wonder where Vantighiato is going to come out in conjunction with the 2 men that's in pit lane. He's going round. Where is he at the moment? I believe he's down and through at turn 17. These guys have stopped. Vantighiato is going to get the cars on the way through now as well. Both men coming out of pit lane at the moment. There's Aria. There's Vantighiato. Ghiato's going to be at full speed currently as well. Is he going to claim Peter Ferrero? He is going to get Ferrero. He's not going to get Aria. Vantighiato is going to get Ferrero though. So Vantighiato effectively is second on the racetrack here because Dante Oliver and Dombre have not pitted and they've only got this opportunity to go in. If they don't go in, I don't think they're going to be in this race. I think they will be DQ'd for not making a pit stop. So they have to remember to go in, especially for Dombre, this lap. He's got to remember to go in. If he does not go in, I do believe it's probably going to be a DQ here, Pat, because they can't let him even get a time penalty for not going into a pit stop, considering everybody else has lost about 40 seconds.
Yeah, like if you were to, at minimum, you'd have to have I've seen in my past experience, sometimes even a full minute being applied to the race time after even like a short little 5-minute race if you didn't make.
Why is he not going in?
Oh, he might have forgot about the pit stop rule, unless he's trying to do, I forget which Formula 1 race it was, but Michael Schumacher had a drive-through penalty and he served it on the extremely last lap as he came across the line. So, and they gave it to him for that, but maybe that's the kind of situation that Dobre is hoping for. Yeah, that's a weird one because you really only got like 10 seconds left before that flag flies, and Oliva's in. Dante Oliva's coming in at the last moment, but Dobre,
you're going to be in trouble.
Might get slapped with a time penalty at minimum, a DQ very likely.
Yeah, the problem is he can't do what you said. Because he qualified in, where was he? Qualified in second. His pit box is going to be after the line. So it's not even like he can go pit stop before he gets to the line. His pit box is right at the front because of where he qualified. So for Dombre at the moment, the only solution he will get, it will be a DQ here. Because he's either frantically forgotten that he's got to go and make that pit stop. Because he can't do it at the end. It's not going to happen. And this is the problem, that it's mentioned here as well, that they've got to make that stop. If he hasn't read it, dude, you're driving around for no reason in race number 2 at the moment, because to be honest, if you're not following the rules here of having a pit stop, he's either got to have a pit stop time with the longest time added to his time at the end, or he just gets DQ'd from the race, which would make it a lot easier. He isn't going to score points anyway, because it's only the first 10 that do. But for Guillaume Dombre, all you people cheering Dombre on at the moment, he has not pitted here. You can't. Yeah, but he can't take it. He's going to be over the line. The line's there. He cannot take it. No, he's finished. He can't take his pit stop on that lap. They've got to specify the rules. It's got to be done before 2 laps before the end. Paul, what has happened? Dombre did not take the designated pit stop during the race, and he's just trying to take it now. The problem is his pit box is right after the start finish line, so it doesn't matter if he pits. He's still not taking his pit stop during the time specified in the rules. So at this moment in time, my theory is here, Aria's going to take this victory with Vantighiato in second place. And then Ferrero's going to get third at the moment because you cannot give a man a win that has not followed the rules.
Yeah, I mean, there's likely going to be an argument made on Dom Brady's behalf of, oh, it doesn't say when you have to make the pit stop, but I'm pretty sure that that's going to not fly very well. I'm pretty sure he is going to get hit with some sort of penalty, disqualification, something in that ballpark. But yeah, I mean, overall, it was still a good race. There was good battles, and Dom Brady's definitely got pace, but like you said, he violated the rules. So, I mean, it's really not going to play well in his favor.
No, it isn't going to matter. You cannot, from where his pit box was at the front of that pit lane, the finishing line is there. It doesn't matter if it's where he started from. The finishing line is still after or still before his pit box. So it doesn't matter that he's gone in now. He should have gone in on that last lap. There needs to be, I think this is one of the things that Ben needs to look out at the moment as well. There needs to be a specified rule on when they're going to take this, because at the moment, it doesn't seem like it's gone well for some of these guys at the same time here as well. Oh, hello. That's new. Hold on a minute. I'm not quite sure why that's gone and done that. Bringing me up no results whatsoever. Just bear with me. Oh, there we go. Guillaume Dombre is your winner, but I don't think he's going to stay there at the same time. Eric Aria, second. Vantighiato, Peter Ferrero. I think that is your 1, 2, 3. David Wang, Manny Warner, Matt Brown, Anthony Edwards, Jordan Pianzola, Ben Snell, Lee Harrison, Scott Borman, Michael Angeli, Scotty Evans, Ben Mitchell, Carl Newhill, Stephen Laird, and Christian Circa rounds out the final ones, and Dante Oliver, Paul Pittman, and Albert Cruz there at the same time. I'm going to be very interested to have a chat here as well. I'm going to pull the man. Oh, I can't move anyone. Oh, why can I not move anybody? Interesting. Give me 2 seconds. Let me try and see if I can get somebody. As well. See if I can get it. I hope it can count and let the rest of the night off racing continue. Paul, you can't. You cannot let that count. He did not go in there. So it doesn't matter if you're first in the pit lane or last box. Won't matter. The line is before the entry. The line is only Spinoza. The line is literally where they run over just around the last corner. It's normally about 50 yards or so after the line and after the final corner. And this is the problem. Look where he went in. So he's in pit lane at this moment in time. Let me see if I can get a little bit further back. So basically, there's the line there right in front of you. That line going across your screen is the finish line. So it doesn't matter if he was last. He still would not have been able to get that pit stop done. It doesn't matter. He would not have been able to get it done. So, we're trying to find out. I can't move anybody, which is a little bit annoying here into the interview room. So, unfortunately, at the moment, we cannot find out what the official ruling is on this one. I'm trying to get a hold of the big boss man himself at the moment. That would be ideal, but see here as well what's going to happen. I wonder if I can get him. I'll give him another minute or so here as well. The line is under the bridge. No, that's not where the line is. The finishing line, if you go to Spa, if you go to any racetrack, the finishing line is literally here. Watch. I'll show you again on this angle that you'll be able to see it. That is the finishing line right in front of us. So that line going across the racetrack is the finishing line. Now, it doesn't matter if it would have been under a bridge here or not, because there's the start line. So again, his finishing line wouldn't have mattered because his pit box is right at the front. So let's find out. Ben's come and joined us in the booth as well. Ben, what is the ruling on Guillaume Dunbar? He did not take that pit stop.
Yeah, so look, it's a bit of a test and trial, the first one. The lads are kicking up about this in the group chat. So the ruling was that you had to take the pit stop at any time and all you had to do was take fuel on. So the grey area is you could take it later on and get the pit stop done early on. But what people didn't do is turn auto fuel off, and then that way they all stopped and put too much fuel in. So we're tweaking it for next week. So next week will be a bit better. Apologies.
So are you counting this as a Dombre win then, even though he didn't pit at all?
No, so if you don't pit at all, the ruling is 45 seconds penalty. So from there, we'll work out the results and see what happens. I'm about to go into the replay and have a look myself. But yeah, no pit stop, 45-second penalty, and you'll have a new winner if that's the case.
Well, I think we have to, because he tried to pit on the final lap. The problem was his pit box was right at the front of pit lane, and he crossed the finishing line, and officially he'd finished before he got to his pit box.
And the pits, so look, I'll have that chat with him, but I think the guys are going to say all pretty fairly that it's 45 seconds. It's a dunk and should have done it earlier.
I agree. So hopefully we'll see how that one goes. Ben, thank you very much. So just to let you know, I can't move anybody.
Legends.
So if you can have a look at that one, that would be awesome.
I'll sort that out, lads. Thank you again. I'm about to jump off and watch the live stream. Apologies for the all right, thanks, boys.
Take care. So there you go, Pat. He's going to have 45 seconds added to his time there as well, which means it's going to be an Aria win. Vantighiato second and Ferrero third on that one as well. So there we go, Pat. That's the rules, and that's what is going to happen.
Yeah, I think that comes to the surprise of actually not a singular person.
Nope.
On my track map, it does show that the start-finish line is slightly further forward, but like you said, when he crossed that pit line, it registered that he finished. So yeah, that 45-second penalty is indeed a slam dunk. No, you can't really contest it. But yeah, overall, that was an entertaining race to watch. I mean, there's some very good battles on track. Even though Dombre didn't take a pit stop, he was pretty quick. He did have some very good battles there with Eric Aria. But yeah, here is our calendar for the upcoming races. We're heading to Portimao, my home track. Well, one of my two home tracks on this calendar of Sebring. And then we go to Road America, Daytona, Bathurst, Mount Fuji, and then we round out the season at Mugello.
Yeah, we do as well. Right, guys, that's going to wrap it up. Thank you so much for joining us. Terra there as well. It said 20-lap race for the drivers. Obvious confusion. Well, it was 20 minutes is the official time limit. The 20 laps is basically just to make sure that the 20 minutes runs out. It's not 20 laps. There's no way they would do 20 laps. It's basically 20 minutes here as well on that one. So there we go. Alex, I hope that's cleared it up for you on that. Right, guys, thanks so much for joining us. Much love to all of you as well. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bells on Benji's YouTube channel. It will be on JBB next week as well. So I'm going to have a look in and find out what went on. But for now, guys, and as always, take care. Have a great week. And you never know, we might see you on the track sometime. Good night.